Defense, first possession with their man or zone, running double George. Okay, come out, execute. And guys, I talk to you all the time about opportunities. Make sure you're ready, make sure you're prepared when opportunities present themselves to you during the course of your life. Okay, tonight, this is your time, this is your moment, and this is your opportunity. Hey, let's go. Take it!
The spirited intonations of Western Kentucky head coach Ray Harper. Welcome everyone to Championship Week, presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Tonight, from Summit Arena in Hot Springs, Arkansas, it's the Sun Belt Conference Championship with FIU taking on Western Kentucky. Hey, FIU led from wire to wire, upsetting number 1 seed Middle Tennessee. Meanwhile, Western Kentucky got a late bucket from TJ Price to rally past Arkansas State, and that is how we got to the final. Hello everybody, I'm Mark Jones, courtside along with Mark Adams. Thanks for coming aboard. This is the third meeting of the season between these two teams. But coach, in the big picture, the 17-game winning streak of the Blue Raiders from Middle Tennessee snapped last night by FIU. We've got a couple of party crashers here right now.
Stealing a bid tonight is Middle Tennessee State, as you mentioned, 28 victories, 17 in a row at one point, and the second best road record in the country. What does that mean? I think they're in, which means whoever wins tonight steals a bid from somebody watching out there right now, a team on the bubble.
And when you look at FIU and Western Kentucky, two of the more improbable, compelling stories in college basketball as part of our one-on-one.
Improbable indeed. Western Kentucky trying to be the first team in 17 years to win 4 games in 4 days for 2 consecutive seasons in a conference championship. And Florida International, their first championship game in 15 Sun Belt Conference seasons with only 3 returning players. Richard Pitino, Richard Pitino has changed the culture at FIU.
And let's take a look at the starting lineups. The Hilltoppers have used 16 different starting lineups this year. Dickerson, Crook, Price, Fant, and Rostov in the starting lineup up front. Hill, Smith, Frink, Tymel Murphy, the team's leading scorer for the Golden Panthers, and Jurkovic at the center position for FIU. And we are set and ready to get underway here. A look at our officiating crew. Western Kentucky in the red, controlling the tip. Rook out front, guarded by Hill.
Watch for Western Kentucky early to look low to number 44, George Fant.
There's Price out to Fant. Puts it on the deck pretty well as well over Jurkovic. Rostov in front with the putback.
George Fant got off to a rough start last night. They wanted to feed him early off the miss, but Rostov on the offensive glass.
Hilltoppers on the board. Hilltoppers with a hard-fought victory last night against Arkansas State. Here's Hill out top. Hill fouled by Jamal Crook. Richard Pitino, meanwhile, in his first season on the sidelines for FIU. Boy, you talk about a turnaround in how they do things there. He has done a spectacular job. He is the son, of course, of Rick Pitino. Rick Pitino was also 30 years old at the time that he led BU to the NCAA tournament, which seems like an eternity ago now, Coach.
A long, long time ago. You know, they asked Richard Pitino if he thought his dad should come down and watch his team play this evening. He said, he should come down. I've been to all his big games.
Sometimes as an employee. Off the miss, nice hit ahead. And Fant finishes and one off the great dime from Price. And the Hilltoppers with a chance to go up 5 on the free throw.
I talked to George Fant before the game, and he was determined to get off to a good start. How do you do that? You outrun everybody. I love big guys that sprint the floor.
Fant, the team's second leading scorer, 13 points a game. Just a 60% free throw shooter, but he knocks that one down, and the Hilltoppers lead 5-0 here early.
It's really the size and strength of Western Kentucky in the red jerseys versus the overall athleticism and quickness of this FIU basketball team. There's quick on quick right there.
Hill running the nice 2-man game, and Jurkovic with the easy layup. Boy, you have to be impressed with the play of Derek Hill, the 5'9" sophomore, a walk-on point guard that made the biggest bucket of the game last night in that FIU win against Middle Tennessee.
He is a tough kid, especially as a walk-on. You just don't see many guys at this level walk on and make such an impact that Derek Hill has for FIU. He's a winner.
Rostov kicks it out to Crook. There's Fan posting up on the block. 10 on the shot clock. Price launching. And rebounded by the Panthers. Murphy with the pull-up, way short. And couldn't get his own rebound. Tymel Murphy, their leading scorer, missing his first jack. Here's Crook in transition. And Western Kentucky out to a 7-2 lead. When they play like that and get quick hit-aheads and buckets, we've seen a couple transition baskets already. Is that the pace they want to play at? Whose pace is that favorite?
Especially with Jamal Crook. The faster the game, the more positive for his game and for the Hilltoppers. He was out 11 games by injury this season, Mark, and he now is completely healthy. What an addition to this ball club.
Yeah, this Western Kentucky team got off to an 8-2 start before being beset by injuries. Rostov with a nice layup off the feed from Fenn, and Richard Patina calls timeout. The Hilltoppers out of the... Coach Harper has to be happy with the way that his team coaches moving the ball on offense as we go inside the play.
This team, when they're hitting on all cylinders, it's the extra pass that makes them good. And the high-low. This team loves playing high-low basketball right there. A direct pass, defensive breakdown by FIU.
Frink on his way to the bucket. Impeded and blocked. Come the Hilltoppers. Floater in the lane, a little bit strong by Crook. And rebounded by Jurkovic.
Well, but think about every shot now for Western Kentucky has been in the paint, either off the dribble or off the pass.
Bell making his own shot. Took out his do-it-yourself kit and gets the bucket.
Cameron Bell, very flexible player, can play the 1 through 4 positions in this undersized lineup.
He had a big night last night in that upset win against Middle Tennessee State. 15 points and 4 rebounds. Jurkovic almost had the steal, but he caused the over and back violation. Hilltopper turnover.
What a job Ray Harper has done at Western Kentucky. To the championship game and won it. An improbable run as they only won 11 games during the regular season, but he resurrected the team as the interim coach, then became the head coach. He's won 4 national titles, 2 at the NAI level and 2 at the Division II level. Dude can coach.
Trying to go back-to-back here with 4 consecutive wins in 4 days. Bell pulled up, was fouled on the play by T.J. Price. That's going to be his first personal foul. T.J. Price, the 6'4" sophomore out of Slidell, Louisiana. Just now getting healthy, and boy, when he's healthy, he's a big key in what they do. Western Kentucky 4 of 7 from the field to begin this game. Smith launching, and Malik Smith with the splashdown 3.
He's one of those guys that when he gets it going, he scores in bunches. He'll take a bad shot or two, but Richard Pitino just kind of lives with it because the kid can knock down shots and say, no, good shot. That's the kind of way he rolls.
Down to a 2-point game. Here's Price. Whistle, and that's going to be an offensive foul against Okaro Akamene. And we've got a timeout on the floor. Back with more on the other side.
ESPN's exclusive.
Man.
I thought Pitt last year really kind of fell off the map a little bit with Jamie Dixon. Man, did they rebound him.
Back here, FIU with possession, down by 2. Panthers were picked to finish 10th out of 11 teams this year in the Sun Belt. Nice cut by Bell and a nice feed to Frink for the slam, and we're knotted at 9.
If you can't guard the dribble against FIU, you're going to get burned just like that.
Derek Hill, their point guard, puts a lot of pressure on the opponent's point guard, getting the ball up the floor, and another nice defensive play in the half court. Here comes Malik Smith.
Number 1 in white, Derek Hill, he puts a lot of pressure on the second guard as well because he draws everybody to him.
And Smith throws in the floater, and FIU has the lead.
And if some of this full court pressure looks a little bit familiar, you might be a Louisville fan.
Like father, like son, they turn over Western Kentucky. Rostov threw it away. They like to speed you up. There's a look at Dad, Rick Pitino. He also was 30 years old when he took BU to the NCAA tournament before leaving for the New York Knicks. And Richard Pitino worked for several high-level coaches other than Dad, of course. Tim Welsh, Ron Everhart, Billy Donovan in Florida. 14.5 minutes to go here in the first half. Panthers with a 2-point lead.
Richard now playing for his first conference championship as a coach at 30 years old. And if you recall, Rick Pitino at 30 years old led Boston University to the NCAA tournament.
There's Bell. Nice drive and kick to Frank.
This is the FIU offense. They like to put the ball down the floor, shoulder slant, get by. There's Hill.
Hill proficient in the two-man game. Missed the scoop shot and rebounded by the Hilltoppers looking for the push.
Good look by Jamal Crook right there.
Inside to Fan, who missed from point-blank range. Murphy's been kind of quiet so far offensively, Coach. How important did they get him off here?
You know, he's one of those guys that when Smith gets going, when Hill gets into the paint, Murphy's got to be a guy that can score as well.
Nice dime inside. Great feed by Hill to Frink, and Frink will go to the free throw line for a pair.
I mean, Hill just gets into gaps. He's constantly open, it seems like. Whenever he has the basketball in his hands, he just gets by people. A walk-on with that kind of quickness and quarterback skills.
Combinate with the foul for Western Kentucky. Frink at the free throw line, a 60% foul shooter on the season, had 6 points and 9 rebounds in that upset win against Middle Tennessee yesterday. And you know, we talked about Middle Tennessee at the top of the show a little bit. An RPI of 29, top 100 RPI wins against Ole Miss and UCF. Non-conference strength of schedule at 9. I'd say they're still in the tournament right now.
I believe so too. They've gone on the road. They've played good people. They won 28 games this season. Very, very deep team. Goes 10 deep. Exciting brand of basketball.
Now we see the full court pressure again from FIU.
You know, even though that FIU is not a real deep team, they will still come at you. They will grind in that full court pressure all night long. They'll switch up defenses from man-to-man and zone.
Yeah, they only go about 8 deep, and for a team that pressures you that much, you'd expect a few more bodies being utilized. Fant inside with a nice jump hook over the left shoulder.
That's what he likes best. We talked to him before the game, and he told me that he doesn't mind turning over either shoulder, but you know what? He loves going over that left shoulder.
His third team all-conference. Crook in transition, blocked on the play by Bell. Whistling a foul called against the Panthers. As Malik Smith gets set to check back into the ballgame.
Jamal Crook just jumps the route right there. Takes right at the basket. Brandon Harris just follows up. I like guys that come off the bench and they give you a hustle play right away. And that's what Brandon Harris did.
Hilltopper ball underneath. FIU in a little zone here, Coach. We saw that give Middle Tennessee some difficulty at times yesterday. Why is that?
Well, because it's always switching up. You never know what defense they're going to be in each time, so your point guard has to read it and then get your offense set.
Bell from deep, an ill-advised shot. Fant with the rebound.
It's good defensive transition by FIU.
Two-man game with Crook and Rostov. Not sure whether that was a pass or a shot.
It was bad either way.
Here's Murphy. Murphy still without a bucket in the ball game, their leading scorer.
Here's the bad news. Murphy hasn't scored. Here's the good news. FIU's up 2.
And a deep 3 by Malik Smith. And he posed for a picture afterwards with the follow-through. Why not? 8 points so far in the game. Knocking down a couple of threes. And a 14-2 run for the Panthers has them leading by 5 when we come back.
When you have
Malik Smith with a deep 3, giving FIU a 5-point lead. Hey, a guy that wears number 24, his favorite player, Kobe Bryant, he launches like Kobe, too.
He really does. He's got the shortest memory in college basketball. He can throw up an air ball and then just ripcord it the next time.
And they get another turnover out of the full court pressure. Coming up after the break, an update on the SoCon. Davidson in action in that one from the studio.
Hi, welcome to
Killip continues to do a great job, and Davidson 17-1 in conference play this year. There's a look at their resume. Right now, the story, Malik Smith with a couple of 3 balls has FIU in a 5-point lead. Former player at Jacksonville College, and before that South Plains College, which last year were the National Junior College champions.
Now FIU comes out hard man-to-man, really pressuring out on the perimeter.
Dickerson on the drive, cut off on the baseline. Good defense.
Yeah, I like their footwork on the perimeter. They really take away the dribble.
And Fant walked with it. Another Hilltopper turnover. That's the 5th one of the game here. We haven't even gotten to the midway point, coach, of the first half.
One of the hallmarks of a Pitino coach team, whether it be Rick or Richard, is that you are in a stance defensively and you are moving your feet constantly. And we see that out of this FIU basketball team.
This is the 3rd meeting of the season between these two teams. Smith again, this time coming up short, but rebounded by the Panthers.
Western Kentucky showing some zone here.
Long jumper, no good. By Komalafe. Western Kentucky with some cold shooting. Kaspar missing that time. Back comes Smith.
Western Kentucky seems tight.
Jumper good by Cameron Bell, who had a 15-point game last night. And FIU leading by 8.
Western Kentucky, one of the most experienced teams in the country.
And that's the guy that has to get off, you would think, right, Coach?
TJ Price, the guy that can take up dribble. He scored 23 in the NCAA tournament last season against Kentucky. Yeah, that Kentucky. He's pretty good.
And a steal by Price. Whistle, and that's going to be a blocking foul against FIU. That'll go against Cameron Bell. TJ Price, a great story and good hustle here, and education and anticipation with the steal.
Yeah, TJ Price strong enough, quick enough, skilled enough to be a guy that can drop 25 on you real fast.
Second team all Sun Belt Conference this past season. He was signed a couple of years ago in the late signing period in April because on cue, Price, they thought that he was going to choose to play football. He was recruited by a bunch of big-time football programs. Pretty good bargain, Coach.
Yeah, as a defensive end, he's a rising star in the football ranks, but wanted to play basketball. You can't assume anything in recruiting. You've got to ask the question. Son, do you want to play basketball or football? It's a pretty simple question, but a lot of people seem to miss that one.
Whistling a timeout as Tymel Murphy got tied up on the baseline. FIU with 4 timeouts remaining.
Panthers. Wilson is proud to be the official ball of the Sun.
Well, folks, championship week on ESPN rolls on Tuesday night with a double dip at 7. The winner of the Louisville-Notre Dame semifinal will square off against Syracuse-UConn winner in the Big East Women's Championship game. Then at 9, Wright State meets Valparaiso in the Men's Horizon League Championship game. Championship week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods, Tuesday on ESPN and also live on Watch ESPN. And what about Brokoff, that big shot that he hit for Valparaiso that game a couple of nights ago?
That was as good of a semifinals as you're ever going to see. Valpo beat Green Bay 70-67. And then, of course, Wright State knocked off Detroit, Ray McCallum's bunch, when Miles Dixon hit a shot from behind the backboard, basically, to win that game for Billy Donlin, who's Coach of the Year in the Horizon League at Wright State.
There's Derek Hill out front. And Hill had knocked away.
Even on turnovers, FIU is getting back so well. They've been very stingy in their half-court defense.
Rostow with a nice left-handed hook shot over the right shoulder. Rostov, the big Latvian.
Big guys always develop late. You see it in the NBA and you see it in college, and this kid is coming on late. He needs to get better.
Murphy missing from deep. Smith with a contested three. Murphy with the putback, he misses. And here come the Hilltoppers. Chance to cut it down to 2. Price. And it's a 2-point game. TJ Price was injured earlier this season, had a knee and an ankle injury, and just now in the last half dozen or so games rounding back into premium shape and form.
Well, that was a long first step into the basket. He just exploded.
Murphy still hasn't gotten on the scoreboard for FIU. Out front, a foul against the Hilltoppers.
Foul number 10.
That's going to go against Caden Dickerson, his first personal foul.
Team Smith.
Don't forget, coming up next, St. Mary's against Gonzaga in the West Coast Conference Championship game. Gonzaga, the #1 team in the country, and St. Mary's trying to knock them off.
Looks like a 2-bid league. Of course, Gonzaga, #1 seed, and Matthew Dellavedova knocking off Creighton during Bracket Buster weekend. I think that may have sealed their fate, along with getting to the championship game in the West Coast Conference. Dellavedova is so good. I love watching him play.
Hill with the floater. Just a little bit off the mark. Now the Hilltoppers with a chance to tie it up. Price feeling it. Little heat check. Hot! And they've got the lead on the 3 ball by TJ Price.
There's times when he just seeks and finds his shot. Western Kentucky back in the zone again.
Frink with the 3. On the blow by. Finds Crook. Got it. And Western Kentucky extending the lead to 3. Coach, when they get into that early offense, they seem to be more successful.
Jamal Crook loves it. TJ Price loves it. We saw George Fant's ability to run the floor. That's when Western Kentucky is at their most dangerous offensively.
And they get another deflection and a steal, but a foul called. That's going to go against Cameron Bell. But TJ Price starting to percolate a little bit.
He's averaged 20 over the last 5 games. TJ Price, you're right.
Hi, welcome to...
All right, Chris. Back here in Hart Springs, Arkansas. ESPN Champions Week presented by Dick's Sporting Goods. Rick Pitino, head coach of the Louisville Cardinals, in attendance, watching his son, Richard Pitino.
That was his granddaughter, Ava, came up to say hi to Grandpa. What if she'll coach?
Well, we are owned by Disney. It's a family network. Family affair here today. What a year for FIU. Only 7 winning seasons in the last 32 years. Price going to work, but he traveled with it inside. And, you know, they haven't had FIU. It's the first time they've been over 500 since 2000, when Shaky Rodriguez was the head coach down there in South Florida.
13 years is a long time to go sub 500.
Hilltoppers coach in his zone here. Murphy on the drive, fouled and 1. Count it. Tymel Murphy will go to the free throw line, try and complete the 3-point play.
We're going to get the dead area of the zone, right there in that high post area at the free throw line, and then he squares. So when you got a big guy in the middle, and of course he's a tweener, but he's a big guy for this lineup. You catch square and have perimeter skills like that. That's why he scores the ball.
First team all Sun Belt Conference this year, averaging a little over 15 points a game on the season. 1-point ball game. Fant trying to post up on the block, whistling a foul called. Fent really did a nice job, coach, of making himself big and available.
And against a smaller lineup for FIU, you just want to pound it inside, and that's exactly what Western Kentucky sees, and that's what they're going to do.
Rostov in particular has had a little success here in the first half. And he's not a guy that does a lot of scoring for them usually. He's side out of bounds, Western Kentucky basketball. Hilltoppers started off the season 8-2 before running into a rash of injuries. But then as their guys got healthy again, in particular Jamal Crook and TJ Price, they started to find their mojo again. Crook on the spin. Fant with the mid-range. Crook battling Rostov. Missing from point-blank range.
It looked like he almost got fooled by the pass.
Smith. Price was running the floor, but it was picked off. Strong move by Fant, but he couldn't convert. Murphy on the move, scoops it home. Wow. Tymel Murphy now with 4.
Not much happened, but it sure was exciting.
Yeah, that might get him going a little bit. Here's Harris on the wing, a little two-man game with Rostov.
On FIU back in the man-to-man, constant switching, just keeps you guessing.
Crook with the stare down 3, comes up about 2 feet short. Out of bounds, it'll be FIU basketball.
Jamal Crook is really struggling with his shot. He's a guy that went through some injuries this season, lower leg injury, and he's just kind of rounding into form, and it really shows tonight. He's struggling with his jump shot.
3 points and 4 rebounds last night in that comeback win against Arkansas State. 2 of 5 today.
He had a fractured foot, which kept him out for 11 games, and he still doesn't have that explosiveness that he had before the injury.
Hill with a nice dime and a good block by Fant. Orchard Jimenez couldn't get free. Price on the drive, took the hit and won. Oh, they call a charge. Let's see what the call is. Might have had conflicting calls. Now they're going to call a charge. Yep.
Yeah, it looked like the baseline official was going to come up and call the block, but he hesitated, and then the out official called the charge.
That's the second foul against TJ Price, and he's going to take a seat on the bench. How does that affect Western Kentucky with Price on the bench? How do they compensate for that?
Well, they just lost their best player and top scorer right there, so George Fant has to step up. Dickerson, a guy that really has struggled shooting the basketball because of shoulder injuries. There's Fant right there.
Orchard Jimenez off the mark and rebounded by the Hilltoppers. FIU switching it up, showing a little zone here. Dickerson didn't even look at the bucket that time. Kaspar back out to Dickerson. This time he does, and he knocks it down.
His shoulders have gotten progressively better. He had a tough time just raising his arms above his head earlier this season, but there you see now he's starting to get some confidence and starting to get his stroke back.
And last year he missed a good portion of the season with a left shoulder injury. This year, when he got healthy, he injured his right shoulder. Whistle, and Porcher steps out of bounds. Coach, 25-23 with 4:19 to go in the first half. Is this a higher scoring game than you would have thought it would be at this point? Or is it about
really.
right? No?
Yeah, we're settling in right around that 60, 65 point pace because FIU, they want to force pace. Western Kentucky, as we saw yesterday, they can win a chess match now.
Boy, look at Hill with those active hands, knocked it out of bounds. Hill started getting playing time late last season under the prior regime led by head coach Isaiah Thomas, and got the starting job this year and has been a fantastic leader. Next year, of course, the Panthers have some very prolific and prominent transfers coming into the guard position. This is Harris with the 3-ball.
Harris, Dickerson, Kaspar, those are 3 guys that can all load it up. They can make shots, and especially with TJ Price on the bench, those guys have responded well.
There's Murphy, thought about it. Hill doesn't. Rattles halfway down and out, and that was a man's rebound by Fant. Kaspar in transition, the 3. Harris with the rebound. They'll get another set. Under 3.5 minutes to go. They lead by 5.
Harris played more minutes with the injury to Jamal Crook. He just kept getting better and better, and he's such a lively kid. He just plays so hard.
Fant put it on the deck and drew the foul. And the Hilltopper starting to find the range from down deep. Not only Dickerson, but Harris as well. Back with more on the other side.
No, there's no way I'm saying anything against them tonight.
Right. 5-point lead. The Suns team trailing right now. Dickerson trying to inbound it, and that's a 5-second violation. Boy, coming out of a timeout, how disappointing is that?
Well, you know what? It's good preparation, but it's also the third time these teams have played. I know a lot of coaches that change up their out-of-bounds schemes going into post-play because bottom line is you've seen every out-of-bounds play your opponent has run over the last 2 months.
We saw last night how tough it is defeating a team 3 times in a season when Middle Tennessee lost to FIU after beating them twice previously.
The best thing about this zone for Western Kentucky has been they haven't been able to get in the gaps. See the pull up for the jump shot right there. Before that was a layup against the man-to-man.
And Murphy active on the glass gets another bucket, his 3rd field goal. He's got 6, the lead down to 3.
And that's the worst thing about the zone. Block it off on the backside.
That's going to be a push-off against Kaspar.
Think about earlier in the game. Derek Hill would have stepped right in there and laid it up. In this case, nobody blocks off. And Murphy just gets a wide open lane to the basket. Easy, too.
Chance to cut it to 1 now. Murphy scored the last 6 points for FIU. Murphy played for South Plains College, the National Junior College champions last year, went undefeated. Malik Smith has been quiet for the last few minutes. Murphy, good hustle for the rebound. Frank missed from point-blank range, but Hill gets them another possession.
Backside boards again. Guards have to drop and block off.
Under 2 minutes to go here in the first half. Hilltoppers leading by 3.
When the shot goes up from an opposite wing, top guard has to drop all the way down. That'd be Crook in this case. He would have to drop on the backside and block off. Watch where the shot comes from. The offside guard has to block off.
Hill turned the corner, made a great pass. Tipped out of bounds, though. It'll be Panther basketball with 9 seconds left on the shot clock. Boy, Murphy tried the old okey-doke move off the opponent's backside. Didn't work. Not the way they drew it up, but Smith got to the basket, whistle, and a foul going to be called against FIU. And Jurkovic's palms skyward, wondering, who, me? That's going to be his 2nd personal foul.
Team 7.
Panthers with their full court pressure. Harris on the drive. 20 seconds on the shot clock. Crook at the point.
Watch for Dickerson, number 10 red. Watch for Fant inside. There it is.
Nice duck in and a foul called against FIU. Good patience that time by the Hilltoppers, and that sends Fant to the free throw line for free throws. Fant at the free throw line is 60% foul shooter. He's the cousin of Jim McDaniels, who is the school's all-time leading scorer, and that's the reason why he wears that number 44 jersey.
And McDaniels from 69 to 71, a 3-time All-American, led Western Kentucky to the Final Four in 1971. The all-time leading scorer, 2,200 points for Jim McDaniels. Great player. Big guy, great hands, ran the floor well.
I'm guessing 71, is that the Clem Haskins, was that his era back there? Or am I off a little bit of my historical timeline? I probably am. The games run together, Coach, after a while.
Tell me about it.
Murphy inside. And Murphy starting to make a move offensively. Under a minute to go, and it's a 1-point game.
This is where Ray Harper likes to go to T.J. Price, but T.J. Price on the bench with foul trouble here.
Do you agree sitting him this long in this magnitude of a game as Rostov gets blocked. He's been sitting for a long time.
Well, you still have the lead, and that's the key.
Okay.
And this game is very manageable, very under control, and it's at a pace that's sustainable for Western Kentucky. We saw it last night. It's a chess match down at the end. Ray Harper's pretty good in that situation.
Musto swings it back out to Crook. Crook on the drive. The leaner draws the foul and count it. Jamal Crook finally gets one to fall.
Remember Jamal Crook, who was struggling with his jump shot? How do you fix that? You put the ball on the floor and you go to the basket and you create easier shots. That's how you get your confidence and get to the line.
6 points. So he'll go to the free throw line. Coach, he had a huge steal and layup with 17 seconds left in the game against South Alabama in their first round game a couple of games ago in this tournament. Nice comeback win by the Hilltoppers. If you're just joining us, Western Kentucky looking for its 4th win in as many days to repeat as Sun Belt Conference tournament champs.
He and Ray Harper have as close of a player-coach relationship as you will ever see. Off the floor, they're like best of friends. And listen, Ray Harper doesn't let up on him. He's very hard on him in game situations. They have a wonderful relationship.
4-point game, and of course, hey, if you're not yelling at your point guard, you're not communicating with him, right? But sometimes.
And right there, Richard Pitino telling Derek Hill exactly what to do on this possession. Derek Hill will accept the on-ball screen and then watch him just flash to the basket.
Tough shot and draws the foul. Good poise and patience by Derek Hill will go to the free throw line. He made the biggest bucket of the game last night in that upset against Middle Tennessee State.
Yeah, with 12 seconds to go, he had the ball in his hand. Very similar play to this one. He was able to convert last night. He's just tough. He's fearless.
Still a walk-on, as he was last year. Derek Hill out of South Miami High School. Knocks down the first. Hey, Super Saturday on ESPN is, folks, one of the most exciting days, frankly, in college basketball on ESPN. 5 games and 3 conference championship games. At 1 and 3 will deliver both ACC semifinals, and at 6, it's the Phillips 66 Big 12 championship. Next, the Big East championship tipped from Madison Square Garden at 8:30, and the Pac-12 championship wraps up the day at 11. Super Saturday on ESPN, also on WatchESPN.com. 6 seconds to go. Crook in a rush. Finds Harris. It'll count. And that's the end of the first half of play with the Hilltoppers leading by 2 points. And that's good news for Western Kentucky, especially in light of the fact that their leading scorer, TJ Price, spent most of the first half on the bench with foul trouble. 2-point ball game of the half. Right now, we're going to send it to Chris Cotter and Seth Greenberg for the Buffalo Wild Wings.